Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Unspoiled, covering Redemptor, chapters 14, 15, and 16. In these chapters, it's time for Tarisai to share her memories. Or is it? Or is it? Welcome to Unspoiled.
Akabiole, wunde sa mina walio. Akabiole, wunde sa mina walio. Awunde sana, wunde sa mina walio. Akabiole, wunde sa mina walio. Akabiole, wunde sa mina walio. Awunde sana, wunde sa mina walio.
Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha.
I'm RoShawn.
Okay. Tell me what you think.
I think her fucking censoring and editing her memories like that is a bad idea.
Agreed.
And I wish she had not done that. I do not like it. And I know she's scared. Really, she's just terrified. She's terrified if people know who she really is, they won't be able to love her. She is being led by fear. And it's weird because the Tarisai in the first book was so seemingly fearless in a lot of ways, right? But she's like, it's like she shook off this is going to sound overly dramatic, I'm sorry, but like she shook off the shackles of being beholden to her mother's desires, you know, and has replaced them with these other types of chains of just fear and self-doubt. And I mean, I get some of it. She's got a lot on her shoulders. She has taken up a huge undertaking that is literally life or death for an untold number of children, right?
Yep.
It's a big fucking deal. She's got these little these things that are haunting her, that are just instilling more and more doubt and fear that she can't do anything right. She's, so I get it. But I was so fucking bummed that she decided to do that.
Damn.
I was so upset. Then we have that wonderful moment with Minya, and then we find out like what she did with her brothers and why and how she did it. And like, I didn't mean to be impressed, but I was impressed. I just looked up and I was like, oh shit, is that me sitting here being impressed? That's just how that shit happened.
She tells the story and she's like, so is this the kind of person you want on your side? I'm like, yes.
Exactly, right?
What do you mean?
And you know what? That made me really, because after that happens, wait, I might be getting confused. Minya shares that story through her handmaiden, her consort, before they have the sleep dream, right?
Correct.
So after she shares that with Tarisai, and then she still chooses to withhold her own truth. I just like, you can't be building these types of relationships and wanting people to bond with you. What if they find out she lied later? Which I feel like is not going to be much. It's not going to be hard to find out the truth of like everything she's omitting. So it just feels like she's setting herself up for failure down the road. It just bummed me out.
Yeah,
but really good chapters.
Like, that it just feels really disrespectful. Somebody trusted you enough to just put it all out on the table, and you decide that they are going to make XYZ judgments, and so you change your thing because you haven't got any faith in their capacity to empathize and understand you.
Yep.
She's judging herself so harshly and being like, was I really that pathetic, when she's like looking at the memories of herself? And, we're our own harshest critics. And Tarisai really doesn't see that and seems to believe that there are times where people can misconstrue things that have happened because they have only certain facts, but they're literally going to be inside your memory. It's not going to get a lot better than that in terms of like making a case for your point of view.
And that's the whole reason we're doing this. This the sharing of dreams, right?
Yeah.
Is to let people see who she is, where she comes from, what she's been through, the choices that she's made, so they get to know her, so that they can then love her enough to want to be on her council. And she is, I don't want to say defiling that, but she is tainting that at the very least, yeah, man. And it just, and it's such a disservice, like you said, to Minya too. It's insulting, quite frankly. Yeah. It's just insulting. Yeah. I don't know. But I still really enjoyed the chapters. I just, and it's funny because I've been so completely on board with her through the first book, at least, and now I'm just starting to wonder, like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah, agree.
which is kind of like, not unheard of when you're reading fiction, right? Sometimes our characters, they don't always make the choices we want them to make, and it builds tension and conflict has to be resolved, and then you have a novel. But it just I don't know.
I think that's why, because I told you before that there are a lot of people who like don't like the second book quite as much, and I think that this is part of why, is that they're not like rah team Tarisai like they were in the first one, and it just kind of is a bit of a bummer, which I definitely understand. But then there are other aspects of this book that I think are so fascinating that I'm like really interested in you seeing them. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So chapter 14, we start off with her at the tent where she's going to be doing this, giving people her memories. And there is a big brazier of kuso leaves, which is meant to induce a trance-like state. And it's funny to me because she's like, what's that about? And I'm like, what do you think that's about? Obviously, that's what this is for. Like, she says to Eiling something like, you think of everything. And I'm like, that feels pretty obvious, girl. I don't know if that's something you should really be giving her that much credit for. Eiling deserves credit for a lot of things, but this
Tara says to her, Isn't the kuso for after I have a council? Like, it's her very first day.
Right?
I guess technically it is her first day of sharing her memories with these people. But
I guess.
But
I'm just going to see it as like her asking all kinds of questions and doing whatever she can to like slow this process in a way that's not actually accomplishing anything and isn't putting it off. It's just her wanting to delay because she feels uncomfortable, and so she's trying to like distract herself.
She's stalling.
Yeah. Stalling. That is the way that a person with a better vocabulary would say it, is that she is stalling. Thank you, RoShawn. I forgot that word.
Oh, boy.
Welcome to the show, everyone. I get paid for this.
So, I want to make sure, like, because she has a very long conversation with Eiling before the actual sort of, not a ritual, but the sharing of the memories takes place, right? There's a whole conversation she has. And we get this amazing story of an assassination at the Children's Palace, like way back at the very, very beginning of this whole, this whole adventure. And it is wild, but also amazing. This dude shows up you know, and Jeet tries to get him, and he's sort of successful, but the guy's got like tranquilizer darts, and eventually Jeet goes down. Tar tries to do like a memory thing to kind of disorient him, but she says he threw me like a bag of yams, which really made me laugh.
So undignified.
And then Aileen shows up, and she's not even anointed at this point, right? She's just one of the candidates.
Yeah.
And she first she's telling the assassin things like, you don't want to do this, you don't want to be here, and it like startles him a little bit, but he's able to shake it off, right? Because her whole hallow is like persuasion and being able to basically suggest things to people,
Right.
And so she's like, you don't want to do this, and he's like, actually I do. And she's like, you're a good man. He's like, oh, you don't know me at all. And then finally she spits out, okay, you know what? Basically, you're a shit person. You're garbage. Nobody likes you. You're going to die alone. And it turned out that because he already has that self-loathing, it makes her hallow. I think it's written like triple in its power, because she has like spoken to something he already believes. So she's just amplifying that, right? And I'm reading, oh, that's pretty cool, because she basically is like, why even bother going through with this? Like, it doesn't mean anything. It's not going to change anything. You're still going to die alone. And I'm reading, and I'm like, oh, they're going to disarm him, and then the palace guards are going to come in and arrest him because these are children. And then she says, you should probably just, what did she say? You should probably just
She
go
says,
away.
I don't think you want to be anywhere anymore.
And he just kills himself.
He's like sobs and then
stabs himself in the stomach. In the stomach. Like, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
But and then she ends up getting anointed like the very next day. But what that also does is that is a hell of it makes a huge impression on everyone, right?
Yes.
And so she gets these sort of really derisive nicknames. They call her like a murmur witch, and
what a fucking killer name, by the way.
It is. That is right. That's great.
Murmur witch. Great. I mean, look, everybody.
That's really, really, really good.
Do you ever come across something where you're like, I have to actively work to not steal this? I'm going to really, really not steal it, and I promise and I swear I won't. But
I'll probably
really hard.
It's very, very, very good. And the other one was pretty good too, but that one was really good. I can't remember what the other like really bad nickname was. But
Devil Tongue or something with tongue.
Yeah, there's like Silver Tongue, which is not that. That's what her boy. I almost said lover.
I was going to be fine with that. I'm surprised at how strong a reaction you had.
No. But her little boyfriend calls her Silver Tongue, which she thinks is a nice alternative to like the nasty names that people call her. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was. I mean, I don't want to say that was really cool, but that was really fucking cool.
It was. Yeah.
And they were like little kids. They were very young when this happened, when she did this. And then she tells also a story about this little boy that she was sleeping with, who was studying to be a priest, and and so it's just a shame too, because it's like the sex wasn't even that good, but eventually they get caught, and he then tells everyone that she forced him, that she used her devil tongue, to force him to have sex, and it was heartbreaking. Yeah. And she ends up saying, and that's why, like, I will never ever be with anybody unless I'm 100% sure that like I can trust them, and that they trust me, and that they know I would never do anything like that, because I can't ever take the risk of, And I just thought, like, what a when you think about the power to plant thoughts in people's minds, and and we've seen that sort of superpower, I think, you know,
Oh yeah, definitely.
it exists like out there in other media, whatever, right? And it can be it's been presented as like very sinister, like the guy in the purple from fucking
the Purple
what's
Man,
the thing, right? Yeah,
Jessica Jones.
Right. And then there's, we've seen like it be used for like our heroes, if it's a good guy that has the power. But what you don't usually see is someone who doesn't have power leveraging that against you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where this boy, to absolve himself of responsibility, and he just says, "Oh well, it was all her.
Yeah,
she forced me." I don't. It's just such a interesting sort of examination of the way that power could work and how people could then just blame you for literally anything bad that they do with you or in your presence,
and what importance your reputation holds, because if she had a different reputation at court already, maybe that wouldn't have worked, but because so many people were already afraid of her and had seen this thing happen. But yeah, it's really like this kind of power is so tough because in the Mistborn series that I covered with Miles, there are all the powers are based off of burning metal that you ingest in your body, and different types of metals lend themselves to different powers. And some people only get one power, and some people get a bunch of powers and can use all kinds of metals. But one of the metals is used for what they call soothing. And soothing basically is like low-key mind control. You can make somebody feel agitated. You can make somebody feel calm or compliant. You can make them feel lustful. You can make them feel angry and vengeful. And it was something that Miles and I talked about a lot because we both felt like it's a really sus power that is ripe for abuse, and it isn't really addressed in the text whether it's like ethical to use, because it's the only power that affects other people in that kind of way. Every other power, it makes you more buoyant and able to jump, or it makes you faster or stronger or whatever.
Right.
This is the only thing where you are doing something to people and getting them to behave in ways they wouldn't if they had the choice. And I didn't really like stop and think about that with her power. And I felt kind of like annoyed that other people were being so judgmental toward her about what her ability is. But the more I think about it, the more I am like, no, that is a fucked up power though. Like there's not there isn't an ethical way to use it, I don't feel. I
mean, it's like because like it like Tar's power, I think whenever you can fuck with people's minds in any kind of capacity is really walking a very, very fine line.
Yeah.
Like Tarisai sometimes will accidentally, like in this bit here, how they end up, both their minds kind of end up going to the assassin story, because Ailing is taste testing all the food to make sure it's safe.
Right. Yeah, we just danced right over that. Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's how they get to this moment, because Tara ends up just kind of going, like pulling like a memory a little bit by accident. She doesn't mean to, right? But like, so her power, like if you are popping stuff out of people's heads without their consent, that's, that's not great.
However, that isn't the only way to use it. So that's like, I feel like there are ways that Tar can use her power that are ethical. I can't think of any example where I feel good about Eiling using her power. Tar can get consent from people, but the nature of what Eiling's power is, nobody's going to consent to that.
Yeah. I mean, and we see her use it, like when they were at the feast, and she tells everybody, like, to calm down and everything. And also, like, it's her job. Her job is diplomacy, right? Like, she's the ambassador, and her whole like politics and PR, right? So, I mean, she's It's funny. I never really thought about all the hallows and of these kids all being low key weapons of the state,
Yeah,
which is kind of what they all are. You know,
definitely. Yeah.
they are weapons of the state. Can use her Eileen's powers politically to advance their agenda if they wanted to. You know, they just can send these superpowered kids out to do their bidding, wherever they need them to be. And like, because we like them, I like them. I don't necessarily think that they're up to anything nefarious, and Dio is just a cinnamon roll, so I feel like I trust him.
Right.
But it does make me think about previous rulers,
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
what they were out there doing, and how did they, you know what I mean? Like all this
Oh
wealth
yeah.
that they've amassed, and how they are in control of all these realms, and yeah.
And also the I think that it may be kind of sidestepped by how young the emperors have been when they've selected their councils, but I could see just making way more of an effort to connect with somebody who has a hallow that you think is particularly going to be useful, which it's that may be something that even a younger kid would. Some people do think that way from a very young age, so who knows?
And then also remember that even before they get the candidates get an opportunity to spend any time with Dio, they first have to, come in front of like the emperor and his people, right?
Right.
And decide if this hallow is even worth being considered. So they get to pick and choose, Yep. Hey, Florian.
Hi, Florian. In the chat. So yeah, she eats a bunch of her food to make sure it's not poison. And we have that moment again where Tara's like, please don't do that again. And Eiling is like, how about you shut up telling other people how they can risk their lives when you're just going to do whatever the fuck you feel like. And Tar backs off a little, but is not pleased about the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what does Eileen think something like, and Dio, like, I think Tar says, what would I tell him if you died? And Aileen is like, he would say I did the right thing. Yeah. And Tarisai is like, think of yourself, God damn it, he would, wouldn't he?
Yep. He would understand. So then we have chapter 15. And Minja comes in, and she is with her consort, Daseo. And this is the woman who has no hands and is, I think that somebody in the chat mentioned, not the chat in the here, but like in the Discord, that it's mentioned that Daseo has like a round figure, which is coveted by the women of Songland or something like that. Which I don't know how I missed that last time, because anytime somebody is specifically mentioned as not being skinny, it usually registers for me. And it did not clock. So, but when they're like, well, we weren't thinking you were bringing anybody, Minja is like, I'm about to like show my whole brain to somebody. I'm not doing that by myself.
She's I'm about to do something more intimate with your empress than I'll ever get to do. I love that she says that I'll ever get to do with my consort too, because that implies like a desire to do it, but something is like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But yeah, like, and then of course they're like, no, of course she can stay. And this conversation, I really. You know what? The other reason I was really bummed out that Tar didn't trust her is because I want them to be best friends.
I get that. Yeah,
I want them to be best friends, and they have a couple of moments when they're talking, especially when they're talking about their families, where there's like just understanding. There's just like just sort of like that, girl saying gift. Like each of them coming from, a dysfunctional, basically toxic, bloodthirsty, fucked up family. And it just feels like there were several moments where they really could have gotten to a place of like genuine understanding of each other, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that like a real sharing of her actual lived experiences, I think Minya is like primed to be a person that understands it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just like, I don't know who else she's going to go meet, but I feel like if anybody was going to get it, she would get it.
Mm-hmm.
And Tara just, you know, just sort of chickens out at the last minute, which is literally at the last minute too, because this is not premeditated. It's like as they're going under, she gets a panic.
Yep.
But
and she's editing in the moment, which
Mhm,
almost leads
mhm.
to them like coming out of the trance for
Yep.
a second, because she's
Yep.
like losing her focus. Not
Yep.
awesome, girl.
It really isn't. Yeah. And then she tries to do, well, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but we'll get there, because then she tries to ray and it doesn't work and it hurts. And I'm just like, I wonder if that's because you just lied. I don't know if it's connected or not. But so the rumors about the brothers comes up.
Yeah.
And,
Like,
and that's
you're
gonna
gonna ask me about that, and Tara's like, ask you about what? I don't even
gossip. I don't gossip.
ever heard of it. I don't know what you mean, even. So I
And,
have been just an aside. You know, I like listening to Snapped Women Who Kill, one of my favorite podcasts, and there are frequently audio tapes that they play of the women who very much did the killing, repeatedly saying that they did not do the killing, and or calling 911 like they just discovered the body and having to pretend like they're so distraught and upset when you know that they knew all of this. And there is a quality to the voices of these women every time where they don't enunciate, almost like if they don't fully say it with their chest, then they're not totally lying exactly. So somebody be like, did you bury him under the house? No, I didn't bury him under the house. No, I didn't do that. I don't know where he is. And there's like no consonants to the fucking, you know what I'm saying? And it's like this really soft, like demure, but it's not, it comes across as like, I could never hurt anybody because my voice is so soft and girlish. But it's really like, I won't commit to the fucking lies that are coming out of my own mouth. And I wonder if there's any sense of that in the memories. If there's like a feeling of her holding back. Can she tell?
Right.
You know?
That's a really good
just
question.
Fascinating.
I know that there was one when they start to wake up a little bit because she's losing focus and somebody's like, are we still in your childhood? I'm curious now if it feels different when you are sharing a dream with someone and they're not being like completely forthright with you.
Yeah.
I wonder if it like in my mind, like the way I picture it, it's like the difference between watching a movie of a location and actually being like feeling like you're in it, you know what I mean? Like when she takes the memories from Daseo, she feels like she's in it, you know?
Yeah.
She's like, I feel my hands, I feel the I wonder if when they are in Tara's memories, when she's not really being honest with them, if it feels less like they're in it and more just like they're watching
removed.
It. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But
and also,
but
like,
if they've
can
never
they tell
done this,
because they don't have context.
That's exactly what I was about to say. But when they're in it, they wouldn't really notice the difference because what are they comparing it to?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So yeah,
I know I bring up Snap like every episode.
So she we get the memory. She starts to tell the story. Minya starts to tell a story, and it's all like very matter of fact and like, you know. But then when it gets time, she tells us basically that she's like very, very young. She's got all these brothers and sisters. All the girls get married off, you know, or sent away. She's got all these brothers, and she's got a dad who's apparently just a real jerk off. and had no interest in her whatsoever until right before he died. He decided to name her heir out of spite and as a joke.
Yep.
And then just dies. It's got a little like Jaehaerys or Viserys. What was his name? Viserys. That's his. Yeah, like naming his daughter. And then like just the mayhem that happens because that's done.
Yeah, true.
So, you know, she spends her life as a young woman, as a princess, still sort of, I don't know, humoring her elder brothers. They're all still at court. They also have like, you know, their power and their privilege, and they are actively scheming against her at like every turn.
Yeah.
And it really culminates with what turns out to be an attack. And when we get to the attack, that's when she can't really finish telling the story. And they invite Tarisai to just sort of like take the memory.
Right.
And
Sale volunteers her memory. And you know it's about
This
to
is
pop off because
beautiful.
her memory is when she still has hands. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It is, it's really beautiful. I mean, it's horrible and it's sad, but there's a lovely, description
Oh my God.
of.
Oh my God. Hold on.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
I don't think that happened for anybody in the crowdcast, but your audio was doing a weird skip for me in Zencaster for the past like 2 minutes. And then all of a sudden it just caught and repeated. So you said something really sweet, I think, and it went really sweet.
Oh,
whoa!
basically
Everybody
heard
says
it.
they did hear it. I didn't think that. I thought that was just like a Zencaster error.
Oh, that's weird.
That must have been something going on with your internet. I'm gonna have to start a new recording in Zencaster. So meet me in the next room that I'll make.
Gotcha.
Move over there. Confirm refresh page. Okay.
Oh, get that headband. Are you not waiting on me, are you? Oh, where's the link? I'm waiting on the link. Waiting on the link.
Hey guys. Did I send it yet? It pulled you in.
Hello?
Hello.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't have to make a
Gotcha.
a whole new room. I just have to you know what I'm saying? Like make a
I got you
call
now.
it making a new room, but
Gotcha.
it's not.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so pick up where you left off. You were talking about the setting when we go into her version of the memory.
Right. I was saying that I really like that what she's called. She's called a
Get closer to Mike.
What is her title? She is a something dancer.
Oh,
A
master calligraphy dancer.
And so it took me a minute to like picture like what was happening, right?
Mhm.
But she just has this. She's standing on this like this long parchment that goes like all the way up to the throne room, I guess.
Yeah.
And she's just writing, and it's just the way it's described. It's just really like beautiful and fluid, like, you know, just I don't know, just sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And there's one line that says something about how she like flicks the paint and but doesn't get a drop on her, because that's another sign of like how good she is at what she does, and she's also the youngest to ever hold this role. And it's just really, really beautiful, and the way that she is talking about Minyang in like her memory about like all she wants to do is like make her happy,
Yeah.
and please her and all this. It's just really lovely. And then,
Guys, are you hearing that clicking? I just want to see if anybody else is getting this, because it's doing the thing it was doing right before it really short-circuited. And it's just kind of throwing me off that other people heard it, because I didn't expect that. I really thought it was Zencaster. So you sounded fine until I started recording, and now it's happening again. I'm pausing, and that click isn't happening. So let me resume recording and say something.
I completely lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
So just say something, okay. For example.
Okay. So she's a master calligraphy dancer, and
it's clicking.
Sounds very pretty. It's clicking again.
I don't know what to make of this. This is not a sound problem that we have come across before. You know, it's like we've had issues where you go robot-y, and that's very clearly due to bad internet signal or whatever. But this doesn't sound like that, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just want to be sure that we don't have to like start a new recording again right after starting this one.
Right.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Let's get back to it. Master calligraphy dancer. You said that the description of it is really beautiful and that she's super good at it. And the example is that she does a whole thing and she does not get any of the ink on herself.
Mm-hmm. And are we recording now?
Yes.
Right back? Okay.
Yes.
And so when she's done, she has this message that she's written, and it is soul, sacrifice, life, eternity, with the characters written backwards and forward, and the words are a binding spell, a binding prophecy, she calls it, right?
Yeah.
And then she's like very proud of it, and it's beautiful, and everyone is clapping for her. And then one of the brothers stands up to toast his sister and this artist. And then Daseo gets this sort of, I don't know. She says she's watching the brother, and there's something about the way he smiles, right?
Yeah.
She says, I could always see through those long lashes.
I love that description specifically,
really
that he's just like looking at
really...
the camera, slowly blinking innocently.
I
Have
love
some
that.
wine, sister.
Right? And she like just leaps into action, and she goes and basically like smashes the cup or whatever out of her hands, and it is filled with an acid or some type of solution that is so damaging that it costs her hands and scars and disfigures her face. And having met this character and having known, you know, that she lost her hands, but we don't know exactly what happened, it's already tragic enough, right? Mm-hmm. But then to find out what she did and what her gift was just takes her loss to just a whole other level.
Yeah.
And then the dream sort of ends with her waking up, and Minya is there, and is basically like, they're going to answer for this. Don't you
Yeah.
even fucking worry about it. There's going to be a reckoning.
Yep.
And then a reckoning happened.
It happened.
A reckoning was had.
I really like to, it's mentioned, I have written one of the riskiest blessings in a Dapilmu's arsenal. The words are a binding prophecy, a promise of protection. As long as my words lay unaltered, my princess will be safe. Though at what cost, none could tell. And guess what?
Yeah.
That cost is coming.
Yeah.
It's coming pronto.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that it feels like a confession of undying love. Like she basically married her in that moment, in a way, you know?
Yeah. It's like, I like that you brought that up too, the idea about the cost, and that she pays the cost for that spell that she just cast with her hands, right?
Yeah.
And it sacrifices in there, but you don't know like who you sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I guess it's mine then.
Oopsies.
But this, I love this too. Minya's telling her that, you know, every last one of them are going to pay, right? And in Desao's memory, she says her features were resolute. I believe what my princess says, and I feel safe. Night will come soon for her brothers. Like, she just looks at her and knows, right? Like, just like, yeah, she knows she's fucking serious. There's no doubt. She's absolutely going to fuck them up. And I trust her. She said it. It's going to be done.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And then as they come back in real time, she still has guilt, because the first thing that Minya says is, it was all my fault.
Yeah.
You know? Because she had been sort of enabling
willfully ignoring.
Yeah, you know, like not understanding how dangerous they really were, playing with them when they really needed to be dealt with in a much more serious way. And so she feels like, if I had just dealt with them from the jump, they never would have been in a position to even do that, right? Yeah. So it's kind of my fault that this happened to you. So yeah, she throws a big fancy party, invites all her brothers and their friends. I love this bit too.
Nothing suspicious about that.
It is not even in secret. Like, that's the other thing too, is like, they're like, oh, these rumors, she killed her brothers, right? She did it in front of everybody. She says, they bled and died before my entire court. How is this a rumor? Is it because this so isolated little country that people don't know what's going on there?
Yeah, I think so. It's the sort of thing that, like, if you heard the story secondhand, you'd probably assume that shit was exaggerated. Because that sounds crazy. She killed all of her brothers at the same time at a celebratory dinner using strippers. What?
Using her father's strippers.
Yep. Yeah, you're not gonna believe that's. You're gonna be like, all right. She killed one guy, and then he used to dance, and it's just really got blown out of proportion.
And now it's 7 guys and 7 strippers.
That's the other musical, lesser known sequel to 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. Much bloodier ending. But yeah, this is just, the fact that he had been about to do that to her in front of everybody is wild too. He was about to basically burn her face off of her.
Yep.
And then be like, guess I'm king now. And I guess that works.
And we're just going to stand around and be like, oh my God, did you guys see what happened to my sister? That was crazy, right? That was nuts, right? Because
wow, that's crazy.
Like, he clearly thinks that, like, no one is going to know it's him, right? Or that after it happens, he'll be in power, so it doesn't really matter if people know it was him or not, you know? But it's not as blatant as what she did. Like, he was still trying to be sneaky about it, to have some sort of, like, deniability or plausible deniability at least. She's not trying to have none of that. She wants everybody to see what, and because her next line is, and after that, we didn't have no more problems.
Yeah, how about that?
She's like, never heard a peep out of anybody else after that.
I called the exterminator, and nary a cockroach was seen again. Yep.
So,
and then we go to chapter 16.
Yeah, and again, just like ending on that note with that sort of like honesty and also vulnerability too, though, right?
Yes,
not
very much
vulnerability
so.
in the sense that like this is information that could be leveraged against her, but just like the vulnerability of sharing the memory of seeing how much these two women mean to each other, what one lost to save the other. That's vulnerable shit.
Yeah.
And then to go into the dream and have for Tara to just not return that vulnerability in kind was
Very
really
much.
just like sad. I just felt really sad for myself reading it. I felt sad for her that she didn't feel, I don't know, strong enough or worthy enough or you know, whatever's going on. It was just sad that she is back hiding parts of herself that she thinks are unlovable parts. Really is what I think really is what is getting to me there, right?
And honestly, it's kind of remarkable, the stuff that she's like so self-conscious and self-loathing about. This girl just told you about the way that she organized the murder of fucking 7 family members. Nothing in your history, Tar, is remotely on par with that. It's just not. Like,
well, Tarisai says to herself, well, she killed her brothers, but they were evil, conniving people who were trying to kill her. I stabbed an innocent boy who had never done anything to hurt me. That's what she tells herself.
That's not how that went, Tar. That's not how that went. You were literally being magically motivated. Like, girl. And if you let her into your head, she would see that you did not have control of yourself at the time, except that you had just enough to miss his heart and not kill him, which is remarkable. Like,
that you were able to your will was strong enough to do that. He even hides the memory of when she first sees him, Dio, and she has that like that, oh my God, where did that come from? That like rage and hatred. That she even like edits that out.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just really made me think about the ways in which we all, I think, all do it. You know, the ways in which we hide the parts of ourselves that we are, you know, ashamed of, whether we should be ashamed or not. You know, whether that shame is real or put on us from someone else. And like how scared we are to share those parts of ourselves with people, and you know, because it is scary. And you know, and I'm being a little too hard on her. Because really, she has a fear of rejection, which is like
definitely
so fucking like all of us, you know, have that to some extent. It's a very, very relatable thing, right? She's afraid that if people know who she really is, they will not love her because she's not worthy of being loved. Really is at the root of all of this, and it just is incredibly sad. But I guess maybe I shouldn't be as surprised as I am, because considering her background and who raised her and how she was raised, you know, and being rejected from like the most important person in your life at such a young age so consistently. Yeah. It's going to leave a mark.
That's true. I just feel like, I guess, if somebody had just revealed this like terrible secret, or not even a secret, it's not a secret, but like, they made this massive admission to you. It just feels like if you don't feel comfortable sharing the truth about what you went through after this conversation, I don't know when you feel comfortable. I don't know what it's going to take. You know,
that's what I mean. Like of all the people that she might sit with to be on her council, I feel like this was probably the best opportunity to connect with someone in a real way that would have plus, you know, both being women, you know, and being in these positions of power. You know, one's a queen, one's an empress, you know, just, you know, the way they're growing up with, you know, parents who, it sounds like, at least, it's a real like 2 quick lines, but it sounds like her Minya's parents, not that they were, well, the dad sounded like a jackass, but also they had all these other kids, you know what I mean? She's like young, down at the bottom of the list, sort of. It doesn't seem like she had parents that were hands-on.
Right.
Her parents were probably a little distant and busy. And that's something that Tarisai can relate to and understand. I just feel like they had a lot of beats they could have connected on.
Agree. So yeah, we have the whole thing with her editing this out, the attempt to connect with the Ray, and the fact that it doesn't work leads Tarisai to think that next time I'm going to have to edit more heavily, which is the wrong fucking, like, girl, how did you arrive to this conclusion? You have no evidence. Stop it. And then a few nights later,
Oh, can I? I'm sorry. I don't mean it. I just want to ask really quickly. The one thing I thought was weird about all of this, and I had a question about it. So it's the 4 of them in the tent: Ailing, Tarisai, Minya, and I've said her name like 8 times tonight. Thank you. Yeah. Right, but only Minya and Tarisai are dreaming. Right, the other 2 are just watching, because
I guess you're right.
Would know, because Aileen would know that this isn't the whole truth, because she's been all up in there, right?
Yeah.
So
for some reason, I thought that Deseo was also seeing the dream, but I don't think that it would make sense to bring somebody in for kind of protection and then be like, you also can go to sleep. So I'm sure.
I'm going to correct us both in real time.
Oh.
She says, in her memory, distantly I sensed Ailing, Minya, and Deseo possessing each memory. All of them are in that dream. How does
maybe Ailing doesn't know. Maybe it's only Dio and Jeet and Kira who know.
I thought she told all the council. I thought all the siblings knew.
I think that maybe they know what she was like programmed to do, but they haven't seen the memories. So, but
I don't know. I can't remember.
I thought that she had like used her memories to show them.
I thought she had as well.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. Over here, Patrick is saying it was mentioned that all 4 of them are in it. Yeah. So if Ailing doesn't remember, that is sort of an odd thing. Mm-hmm. I wish I could recall exactly how Tarisai lets them all know what happened to her, but I feel like she comes back from her like sojourn away to discover a way to break this whole spell, sort of puts herself in palace exile, and the story of what's been going on is kept from them for a while because everybody thinks she's pregnant and they don't really understand what's going on. And then when she confronts them and talks to them about what happened, I thought that she took their hands and gave them all the memories.
That's how I thought it went as well, because she felt like she couldn't really explain it to them. They had to see it because it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It may be that she gave them like the highlights and didn't go in depth enough, because this is going to take her several days to give them the full accounting of her life. Mm-hmm. So maybe it was just like she was explaining what had literally just happened, but she didn't go far back enough in her history and wasn't detailed enough for them to see all of these little moments.
Yeah, that has to be it, right? It's got to be what it is then. Okay.
But yeah, so then we have her dreaming, and I love the way that she says this. I dreamed Sanjeet, not of him, but him directly. And this was not something intentional that she has been doing.
Yeah.
She says, I visited Kira most often, nudging at the corners of her mind until she recognized my presence. Then we would dream together, suspended in her vivid thoughts for hours. Sometimes she reenacted her adventures for me, conjuring up the golden Blaseed Valley dunes where she currently hunted for riled-up Alagbato, or the great moving city of Katsafut Omar, which she had chased
I want to know more about
days.
this place.
Right? I'm hoping to catch her estranged family's caravan. Estranged family. Don't love this.
Yeah, the best I can figure is after she gets anointed and she's like, what, they just... Because they brought her and dropped her off at the palace.
Yeah, but we also had those moments of her clashing with them about their religion and feeling like, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if her beginning to question some things has caused them to pull away from her. I don't know how much contact anyone is allowed with their family. We know that they don't you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
So she is near Sanji and she's trying to bail because she doesn't want to see him. But he turns and sees her and he assumes because she has been so studiously avoiding him that she is not real.
What I love about this is that when he says you're not real and she answers him, he's very matter of fact about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, first of all, he's like, in order for us to merge or unite in the dreams, you have to be thinking about each other at the same time. And she doesn't even think about me anymore like that. She avoids thinking about me. So you're not even her. And he's like, you're just a figment of my imagination. But he doesn't seem particularly bothered about this really intense figment of his imagination.
No, he does not.
He doesn't seem to be concerned about this very vivid hallucination that he thinks he's having.
I'm kind of assuming, I mean, he is dreaming, right? He's asleep. So if he's asleep, then he could just assume he is making a fake connection.
So he's accusing himself of dreaming her up in his dream.
Yeah, I think so.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But I guess you have to be able to do that. Then if this type of dream meeting is possible, then even when you're asleep, you would know it. So then you could be like, yeah, this isn't a real thing now. I'm just dreaming that we're dreaming together, but really it's not. Which has actually a lot of philosophical questions there. Because if you're meeting in the dream and it's the dream, then if I'm dreaming of you in my dream, isn't that also me meeting you in my dream?
I mean, if they remember it, then yes. If they don't know anything about it, then no.
Then no.
Yeah.
So she talks to him for a little while as if she's just this figment of his imagination. She starts talking about herself in the third person.
There is something about the fact that she has decided to play along as if she isn't herself that just feels real on brand for her at the moment.
At the moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't. She's just like, all right, well, how did you know she isn't thinking of you? Which I was like, oh, we're doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Why didn't you say, how do you know I'm not thinking of you? It's like, oh, she's just going to lean into it. All right. And so he has this conversation with her, and we find out, he says, she's not thinking about me, and she shouldn't be because I left her. I did exactly what her mother did. The minute she tried to be who she really is and to be herself, he doesn't say, I rejected her. He just says, I left. I disappeared. But basically, it's a rejection. She tried to show me who she was, and I bailed. Which, again, for, rejection sensitive type person, when I think about, again, her decision not to be honest when she's dreaming with Minya, I'm just like, well, you know what? She does not have she has some experience with people not liking who she is and who she's turning into. She's got those moments with her council siblings that have some feelings about, what she's doing and who she's becoming. Got the shit with her mom. Jeep bouncing. So yeah, she's a little
I feel so
sensitive.
mixed about this because, like, I get what he's saying, and he's not entirely wrong. He could have at least stood by her side while she did what she does. But she also was kind of, like, wanting him to light himself on fire along with her. If we're taking his turn of phrase there, which I feel like is asking a lot. I feel like it's sort of an unfair question. So how does he stay by her side and part of her life, but not entirely commit to something that's, like, hugely important to her?
Right.
I don't know how that would work. I mean, not saying it couldn't work, but that's a difficult question.
Yeah. He says, when she says, you could come back, I know she can be difficult, but she'd rather have you there. And then he starts talking about the location where he is right now. I guess he's back home.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about he's in his garden and wishing that she could be there with him. There's also this little bit, too, I thought was just really interesting. I don't know if it doesn't really have anything to do with the plot, but this is, like, as far as world building goes. Where he is this enchanted garden, and it's just beautiful, filled with, like, precious gems and beautiful flowers, and, like, you're looking at this place, and he says you think that people would just be robbing it blind, right? Like, it's just all laying around.
Yeah.
But the minute you take anything out of its natural habitat, it just crumbles into dust.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I was just like, oh, that's a lot there. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, the fact that context is what determines the value of the thing in such, like, an absolute and extremely physical sense. It's an interesting idea.
So then she tells him, hey, no, it's me, and I'm here. Like, we're really here together in this moment. And he rushes over to hug her, and then her little spirits come back.
He starts to tell her
something. He's trying to tell her something about danger, that something is happening.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, everyone.
He's got leads on her OGG. And it's like as soon as he starts to talk about it, they show up. And she's, first of all, is like, what the fuck? They're not here. They don't show up when I'm dreaming. Like, this is new.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like a development that I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
Count
And it's just like, it's also like, can I bitch just get her? Can she rest? Can she get a night's sleep? Does it have to be like this all the time? And as someone who's not sleeping well, yeah, it has to be like this all the time. I can tell you from experience. This is how it is.
I was saying this on an episode recently, but, like, I genuinely feel like there should be some kind of rule that we have agreed on with Mother Nature where sleep is off limits. You suffer during the day. You're in pain, awake. You're dealing with garbage, anxiety, mental health issues, exhaustion, whatever kinds of physical pains and limitations. I think there should just be a contract where you get 8 hours where that shit isn't a factor at all.
Yep.
And
it
infuriates me that is also on the table for nature to affect.
Yep. It's the whole system that we're operating under is deeply flawed. It is just a madman. A completely bonkers individual. Just really was off their meds. Yeah, if
I'm not trying to shit on anybody who believes in intelligent design, because believe what you want, but I have got to say, I don't feel like this is something to brag about it. I don't feel like I would want to take credit for this design. I'm just saying, like, this isn't the sort of thing that I would be like, my God is responsible for this. Look how great he is. That doesn't sell me on it at all.
If I did this, if this was mine, I would have first draft disclaimers hanging from the sun all day.
You know what? Who knows?
Just
Maybe
to
they're
remind you
there.
folks, maybe
Is
they
that-
just can't see them.
Is that something? Is that something that's happening? Do we have first draft in our DNA somewhere?
Somewhere.
Oh no!
You know? I would, every time somebody asked me, I'd be like, this is my first try, right? Like, this is my first try.
What if we die and go to heaven and God is just like, might be. You were the beta.
There's like a...
We've got another round. It's going to take a couple thousand years for them to be ready. Sorry,
we get like a little consolation prize. Like we're gonna get early access to the next phase.
Exactly.
We agreed to the beta testing.
We get a discounted upgrade. It's not even a free upgrade. It's just 40% off.
God's gonna be like, I'm gonna text you a code. Just put this promo code in.
Have you seen this paid version of Facebook that's circulating now? And it comes with exclusive stickers are part of the package that they're touting. Where it's basically Twitter verified, but it's Facebook verified, Meta verified. Sorry. Because they can never help themselves. They have got to copy every other platform and try and do it all and make it all terrible.
Just
yay, capitalism.
Stickers.
Yep. They're like, you're also going to get, for this $15 a month, some really cool virtual swag for comment sections. And I'm like, have you seen how many people want the world to know that they did not pay for Twitter? Why would I want a sticker that explicitly tells everyone I am paying for Facebook? That's the opposite of what anybody wants. Nobody's interested.
How are these people billionaires?
I say this, but I also thought Twitter was going to crash and burn when it first started. So what do I know? I bet this takes off. I always overestimate people.
You thought Twitter was going to crash when it first came out?
Yep. I was like 140 character maximum, and you're just randomly shooting this into the ether with no idea who's reading it or who can see it, and everybody's just doing that all in the same feed.
That's how insane. I still feel about Twitter. That's exactly why I still think of Twitter.
I mean, that's what it is.
Never forget,
and I still don't really see the appeal.
You hitched your wagon to Google Circles. I'll never let you forget that.
Yep. Google Circles, I was like, Twitter's going to crash. Google Circle forever. That's really what I thought. Do not take my advice on investments. Go buy crypto. What do I know? Don't buy crypto, guys. I at least know that much. For fuck's sake, don't do it. I feel confident and comfortable, at least, in saying don't buy crypto. Like I would say, don't smash your dick in a car door. I may not have a dick,
funny would it be
I feel confident.
If you had crypto commercials.
My God. I actually wonder, now that you say that, I might. I don't know. I get weird commercials sometimes. Who knows? I often wonder if I get penis enlargement pill commercials or anything like that. I don't know how well they vet, their ads. Because we've had some Trump stuff get through a few.
I remember
back.
that. Remember that. You had to email them and just be like, hey. Hey.
And it started to happen again. And I got in touch and they were much less helpful this time around, which was annoying.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But we won't get into that.
So, yeah, he's trying to warn her about something that is up. He's got some leads. We don't get to hear everything he has to say because they start with their taunting. And a gust of wind blows in, which was weird too, because, I don't think it's anything, right? But there is a quick mention at the very beginning when she first goes into the tent with Minya that she does that wind sort of dance that the wind can do as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that that's anything, right? That's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why these things are able to. A gust of wind sweeps her off the ground as the voices of the children come in.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what she says about the power to wield the wind, I forget what they're called. She says it is a gift that the royal family of Songland, they all have it.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know all of these Ojiji. They're all children that went to the underworld. I'm assuming they're all from Songland. But I don't know if that's true. It has to be, because they're the only ones that sacrifice their children, right? There was never a time when... Was there a time when all 12 realms...
Yeah, there was. And
right?
I think she has run across some Ojiji who had an accent that she was like, oh, that's from such and such, so he must be real.
I think so. Right, okay. So I don't know if there's a connection to Songland with this wind that burst in like this. But I just wanted to mention that, like, it struck that. My brain thought that for a second. You know, like, oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Weird gust of wind. Interesting.
Yeah, Patrick says the one that killed Faddis. Yeah, he's the one that's like, he mentions a war from like 500 years ago or something.
Right.
And yeah, he's not from Songland.
So yeah, they come in, and the message this time to her is about Jeet specifically.
Yes.
And it's that he left you, and that he hurt you, and he's trying to keep you from saving the future and saving us. He's going to keep you all to himself. Don't listen to him. And she's fighting and kicking and screaming. Well, not screaming, but, and then she just kind of like, he's still yelling after her, trying to talk to her as she's sort of like being pulled out of the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And all he gets out is that, you know, it's Ojiji, across Aristar, noble families, danger, please basically be careful. So noble families. So are other people, other like nobles being haunted? Is that what he's trying to tell her?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, what are they haunting them about? Like, because it seems like what's going on with her is that anytime she gets distracted away from the idea of she needs to save all the children and change, you know, what's going on with sacrificing the children, that's when they seem like they pop up.
Right.
Whenever she's feeling confident or feeling like she's making progress in any direction other than that very specific thing.
Yeah.
But if these things are out and about across the world, what are they saying to other people? Like, I'm really curious if that's what Jeet's saying. I don't know for a fact that's what he's saying. Sounds like it. Unless he's trying to warn her that noble families are somehow behind, like sicking them on her, if that's a thing that could be done. But I don't know how that would work. Like, I mean, magic is magic, and I don't know what all people have access to, you know?
Yeah, yep.
I don't know. I really don't know what to make of his message. But yeah, so I read it like, one way was, you know, the OGG are out across the realm, wreaking havoc everywhere, and noble families are in danger, or the noble families are the danger, because we know she's out here giving minds and shit back to the people.
That's true.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know, but this interrupts her reunion with Jeet, so we don't really get a sort of a resolution to where their relationship stands, you know. Except we already knew that they both cared about each other, and obviously he misses her, he feels guilty, but I don't know where they go from this.
And she repeatedly tries to fall back asleep and reconnect with him, and every time she does, the OGG are there screaming at her to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell her if he wanted to help you, then he wouldn't have left.
Yep.
So,
and the last thing, they add back to the do more. You got to do more. You got to do more, and then it ends with you are alone, which is just for fuck's sake, you guys.
Yep.
Like, again, can she just get a minute?
Mm-hmm.
Can she just get a fucking minute? Nope, she cannot.
Nope. Minutes are for other people.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like she is. These things that are haunting her, I can't wait to find out what's behind it. I feel like I want to say who's behind it too, because I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Something is not right. This is not as like organic and spontaneous as it seems, you know. Someone somewhere is putting a whammy on her or something. I don't know.
RoShawn says the GGR sus, ladies and gentlemen. Who knew that the weird undead child demons from another dimension are not organic?
You know what I mean? They're not just like the souls of children, you know, because we know that they're like, what are they described as being, like puppets almost, you know?
Yeah.
It's the pale arts, Patrick says in the chat. But you know, but I had been kind of thinking to myself that this was, you know,
I don't know. I can't hear you.
This was like a sort of like these things are haunting her because she has made this pact, right, with the Obiku.
Yes.
And that she somehow disturbed the spirits of all these children or whatever, right? And then but this is like her sprites, but awful. You know?
Yeah.
It just but the thing is, I don't know the who's it's and the why's it's, you know, like
lesser known cracker.
That's what I call Steve, my lesser known cracker.
Oh, I love our jokes leveling onto each other. It's like a beautiful sandwich. All kinds of fillings. Delightful.
But anyway.
Oh, he has to make that his fucking handle somewhere. Twitter? I don't know. Where do you need handles nowadays? Have him start playing Call of Duty under the username Lesser Known Cracker.
But anyway, so that's my theory about what's going on with these little ghost kids is I just want to know who's pulling the strings, really. Yeah. You know, who is it? And the whys could be all kinds of things, but I can't wait to find out who it is. Who's doing it? Somebody's got a little doll of her, you know, they got a jar in the backyard buried. They got something's going on.
You think there's a little doll, huh?
There's something. And also, too, like, how, because they know when to show up, except for the first time with Thaddeus, which was actually, they knew when to show up for that as well. It was, like, very important. They caught him right in the middle of the escape, right?
Yep.
But, like, the timing of these haunts are not random. She's reacting to them like they're random, but they're not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's gotta be someone, like, how does someone know she's with Jeep? And having this moment of feeling like I'm safe and he's here. And also he's about to drop some really important information into my head.
Yep.
You know, this would be a really good time to show up and interrupt that. How do they know? Right?
So we got to house it.
we got a who's it, a what's it, and a how's it.
Yep.
Mhm.
I think it was a who's it, a why is it.
Oh, a why is it? You're right.
Yeah.
A why is it? A who's it, a why is it, and a how's it. Like, I don't even want to say it out loud, y'all. I'm like those women on Snapped where I want to use the baby dad voice because I don't want it to be
that the Abiku
a sibling
are reading her mind. I don't know what it is.
I mean, I don't know. Is it a sibling? Could it be a sibling? Is that possible? No, we would all know. We're all in each other's brains all the time. How could you hide something like that?
I mean, she was able to hide.
Did you hide something?
She was able to hide her assignment.
But shit. Oh, I don't like it. Let's just put a pin in that.
Okay. Fair.
I don't want it to be that at all. I don't want it to be that the council is compromised in any fashion. But
I appreciate Patrick over here just being like, "Oh no," because Patrick's reading along, so Patrick does not know anything more. We're giving Patrick some ideas as well.
He also says in the chat a cracker sandwich of jokes.
Yeah, I like the idea now that we've got a band that's called Lesser Known Crackers, and they go by the name Who's It, Why Is It, and How's It, and those are their like stage names. I really appreciate the like cracker theming. Would be very easy to do as like a PR person if I'm trying to get things set up for a smaller band at a smaller venue, and I'm like, I want to go with a cracker theme. That's a very affordable theme to do. You could really go heavy on it without having to put much money out.
I mean, that all sounds fantastic to me.
I feel like it works, yeah.
I don't see a real problem. Patrick says in the chat also, oh no, Aileen has been described as shutting off stuff. Tag yourself.
Remember that.
I'm homesick.
When has Eileen been described as shutting off stuff? I don't recall. I believe you, but I just don't remember the example that you're talking about. Do you remember, RoShawn? Okay, RoShawn's shaking her head for those listening. She was drinking her drink.
Sorry, I was taking a sip.
I want to mention, by the way, Zencastr hit a problem, and it is telling me that your sound was they couldn't get it. So for those listening, if this episode sounds janky, it is because I had to rip it from the Crowdcast. It is not through Zencastr.
Oh, it just stopped saying my audio was no good and just was
Yep.
It
only recorded for 3 minutes after we reconnected.
That's never happened to us before.
Not on Zencastr. But yeah, like I said, the fact that you were having this issue and they could hear it in the Crowdcast, it's clearly not Zencastr's problem. Something's going on, but I don't know what it is. So here's hoping we don't run into this tomorrow on Away Some Fire again.
Yeah, I'll do a restart tonight.
Okay.
And just, try to get my stuff cleaned up. Right before the thing about Dio, Patrick says.
You mean the memory about saving Dio from the... I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'm not totally sure. But I think it was that Tarisai had started to take the memory and then stopped herself, or Eileen stopped her or something.
I think there was a mention. I don't know if it was Eileen, but there's been a mention before of somebody in the council when you don't want it, that does shut themselves off from the rest of the Ray for private time or whatever.
Gotcha,
right? That can be done. I'm not sure exactly if that's what Patrick means, but I think that's something that's been talked about that can be done.
Gotcha.
But I don't know if you can, shutting yourself off from the Ray for a particular period of time is one thing, but completely hiding an agenda or plan or whatever. We see that with Tarisai, but it felt like, oh, well, you know what? I was about to say, well, I kind of figured that was because she was under like a magical spell. But who's to say that this is also not, you know?
Yeah.
When we're
Somebody
first
being
getting hints that
influenced.
she's...
Who knows? Well, it's something that we're going to have to wait and see about. And in the meantime... Hey, new patrons, what's up? This week we have Michelle and Anthony Erlom. Thanks so much, guys, for becoming patrons. We love you so much. We really appreciate you a lot. And I hope that everybody who has become a patron is enjoying it, and that those of you who are interested are participating in the writing prompts thing that we are doing in the Discord, which has been super fun. RoShawn, the prompts, I actually used ChatGPT and was like, hey, give me like 30 writing prompts for just short exercises, and then picked like my favorites. And one of the ones that was suggested was write a short scene in which a wife finds out something disturbing about her husband. And so I made it write a scene in which someone finds out something upsetting about a romantic partner. And the scene, I just sat down and started writing, and I didn't plan ahead. And what it turned into was a girl who had gone on 3 amazing dates with this incredibly hot guy. And she couldn't get a straight answer out of him on what his Instagram handle was. And eventually she tracks him down, and he makes those like really heavily edited hack videos that clearly don't work, but they edit it to make it look like if you just draw eyeliner on the side of a spoon and press it to your eye. And then he's like very committed in these videos to acting like that definitely happened, what I just did. And then he gets a message from him about how he's so excited to see her the next day, and she just starts crying, and that's the end of the story. Writing it, and I was like, I know I'm going to have something be found on the Instagram. I don't know what I don't want to be something awful, like he's a white supremacist or that he supports him. What am I going to do? And then I was like, something I would lose total respect for is what if I was like dating a dude who found out he was behind 5-minute crafts. You know, those videos. Oh, you guys.
The other ones are people who like make like those really ridiculous foods, you know. Great, this is a great idea for dinner, and it's like the most disgusting like garbage, and you're just like, why would anybody eat that? But then really they're just wasting a bunch of fucking food, you know.
Yeah, they're like, let's take a block of cheese, cover it in ranch dressing, and then slice open several baggies of hot dogs and just dump them in there. Cover the whole thing with some Pillsbury crust. You've got a yummy pot pie for dinner. Oh, Christ. There should be laws against it.
Aww.
I'd like to thank you, Natasha. I got postcards this week. I never thought I'd get any because my mailing address is in the Philippines. So when I got it, I was overwhelmed, and I might have cried a bit. Aw, Patrick.
Aww.
Welcome. Yeah, that's the reason I stuck with doing the postcards, is because overseas mailing is a lot easier to do. It's a lot less expensive than sending like a package with merch, because I would love to do merch, but it's just not cost effective when I have that, like, as many listeners as I do who are not in the US. So I'm really glad that they came, though. I know that it's probably very delayed. What you got is likely like 4 weeks old at this point. But I'm so glad that they got to you. Hurrah. All right. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up this bitch?
Nope. I just can't wait to read the next couple chapters. Try to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Yay. All right, everybody. We love you very much. Until next time.
We
toodaloo,
do.
motherfuckers. And capitalism is a disgrace and a horror, and return the means of production to the people.
an Unspoiled Network podcast.